Okay, so let's work on another handy skill set. You should be getting pretty familiar with the idea of making a function. Okay, we've done it several times. And we know how to call a function from anywhere. You can call it from a loop, you can call it from within another function. There's a number of ways you can call a function. And you've probably noticed the parentheses. And then sometimes you'll notice that we have parentheses on functions, for example, this random, that you didn't write, but have been written by the authors of the software. And they've put stuff into those parentheses. Okay? So clearly these two numbers, this 2 and 10, got handed someplace for it to be able to generate a random number. Okay? Well, you can do the exact same thing. You can create your own functions that take values. They're called arguments, and it does something with them. So I can pass a value from my loop and put it into some other location. So let's do it. It's not that hard at all. I'm actually going to go ahead and create a new sketch here. And as usual, I'm going to save myself some time, and I'm going to copy this and replace that. All right. And let's rename this, let's just call this arguments. Okay, so an arguments introduction in a void function, and today is the 17th. Okay, we'll leave this random seed here in case we need it. We may or may not. And I think I'm also going to go ahead and copy this function just for snickers and giggles, because we're gonna play with it a little bit and manipulate it. And what else do I need? I'll just go ahead and grab this so I have it with me. And then I'll leave that there. Okay, so let's go ahead and delete this. And we'll move this guy over here. And I'm going to save as, and I'll put it in my new folder here. So we have this new module. So I'll go up one. We're now going to be in module 4B. And I'll call this arguments. Alright, arguments. Alright. So I've got my arguments saying. So let's take a look at this. In this particular case, when we ran this module, we used the random number generator to generate a value that went into this particular variable. And we used this variable here to be able to pass a value down locally, okay, within this function, so that that value went passed into here and it would run through the delay function, and then again here. So what I want to do is I actually just want to take this, and instead of creating it here on line 18 in my case, in creating it within the function, I'm actually going to move so its creation and its reference happens within the parentheses. And I'm going to delete that. Okay? So now what will happen is if I put a value into here, let's say for example a pin for pin 3, it's going to light up pin 3, and it's going to hold it for 250 milliseconds and turn it off. So I'm actually, we'll go ahead. We shouldn't call this random LED. We'll call this light LED. Alright. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this function name and I'm going to put it up here in the loop, and instead of having the variable, I'm going to put a value. So let's say for example I want to light up this green LED. Well, that would be pin 2, pin 3, that would be pin 4. So if I put a 4 in here, what should happen is it's going to light pin 4 over and over and over again. We'll see it flash. So let's see what happens. Let me pause while it loads. Okay, and lo and behold, it's working perfect. So I have this value of 4, okay, which is being passed down into this variable that I've created here in the creation of the function. So now the 4 goes into the variable LED to light, and then LED to light, that value 4, gets passed down here 2 times, and of course it turns it on and it turns it off. Right, and I can actually do a lot of different things within these functions. Let's take this up one more notch real quick. I'm going to go ahead now and let's move this variable. And I'm going to separate it by a comma. Alright, I'm going to delete that. And now I can go up here, and so the 4 is going to go into this position. Now I have two variables waiting within these parentheses. What I want to do now is I simply want to pass another value. So let's make it different. Let's make it 500. So this 500 is going to go into this variable here, and it's going to get passed down through within this function. And we should see that it flashes at a different rate. Let me pause it again. And lo and behold, it's doing exactly what we told it to, which is really amazing. Pin 4 into here, 500 into here. Both of these variables, which were created within the parentheses of this void function, now are active and passed throughout the function, and we see that we're able to turn on and off pin 4. Now I can do this. Once I've done this, I can reuse this function a couple of times. And let's do 4, let's do 5, let's do 6, and let's do 7, and let's just make this fun. Let's make this 100, a 200, a 300, and a 400. So now we're going to reuse this function over and over and over again, and we're going to see it change its behavior because we're changing the values within the argument. I'll be right back. I probably should have chosen something different than a 100 or a 200 because maybe it's not being captured by my camera, but in fact it's briefly flashing and flashing slower and slower as it moves up the scale, although it may look a little bit funny to you. It's perfect to me. Okay, so let's take it a little bit further. Let me pause and set this up so it works out real nice. I'll be right back. Okay, so here what I want to show you is that you can actually make this a variable as well. All right. So back here we created variables within our function that we created, and here what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create a variable outside of this function call, in which case I called it pin. And what I'm doing now is I'm having the value of pin go between 2 and 9, and as that goes through the for loop, it's getting inserted into this function call and placed here, which is jumping down to here. So now I have this nice scrolling effect with the LEDs because I've actually put a for loop with a variable, and the variable is passing into here. I can do this a couple of different levels, actually. I can copy this, for example, real quick. This will be where I am, by the way. This is getting a little thick. And let's make this delay. All right. And let's make that delay. And this delay. And this delay. And let's make it go from 200 till it's we'll make it go greater than 0. And then let's make it go down. Let's go minus equal. So this, I don't know if I've shown you this yet, but we're going to go down by, instead of just going up and down by 1, we're going to go up and down by 25. So it's going to go pretty quick. And I need to make sure I've got the right number of braces, and I don't. See what I'm doing here? I'm clicking here, I found a match here. I'm clicking here, I found a match here, but I don't have a match here. So therefore I need another closed brace. Okay. And let's load it up, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm laying things on fast and heavy here, aren't I? We've got a nested for loop. Alright, so I got a for loop within a for loop, and it's going to stay within a for loop until it reaches the exit point when the condition becomes false. So the values 2, for example, it enters here, and now it's going to go faster and faster until it reaches 0, and then it's going to exit, and then this is going to go to 3. It's going to go faster and faster until it reaches 0, exits, then it's going to be 4, and you see that happening here. It's going up the scale faster and faster, flashing, until finally it reaches the highest value, and then the process repeats itself. So let me end this here. And all these, of course, are being passed between multiple layers of variables. Created variables here, created variables here. They're being passed here, handed down here, and passed within the function. So build this, play with it, make sure you understand it, change the values, because your next challenge is going to be, well, not that dissimilar, but, you know, kind of cool. I'll see you guys really soon.